everybody, it's Joe Roberts of OneWineDude.com, and I'm here in my home in Tuscany. Actually, I'm not in Tuscany, I'm in Santa Barbara, wine country, en route to Wine Bloggers Conference 2012 in Portland, Oregon. And this is getting distracting and really hot because it's hot here, so let me turn this off. And I am just finished a Google chat with Andrea Robinson, Master Som, awesome lady, and a total spitfire. And long story short, but she sent some wine for us to taste for that, so that's why I've got a glass of this. I think it's the 2011 Mary Edwards Sauvignon Blanc from Russian River. Big, textural, but pretty darn good, so quite refreshing after a day of plane travel. So this video is for you, the wine blogging community, and for those of you who attended or didn't get to attend the monetization panel at WBC12 that I took part in, or will have taken part in by the time this video posts. I wanted to, one, give you something so that you didn't have to spend your time taking notes the whole time during that panel. Two, I'm only a small portion of that panel, both literally and figuratively, and I wanted to give you a little bit more information than I could possibly do in the 10 or 12 minutes, whatever it's going to be, that I'll have to talk and take questions during that panel. So I want to really cover a few things about monetization for wine blogs. And the money shot, the biggest thing you can take away from this, in terms of what I've learned, is that you can monetize your site. There's probably upper limits on that, depending on your traffic and your reach. But if you monetize yourself and your uniqueness and your own abilities, there really is no upper limit to that. So at the end of the day, at some point you should probably be thinking less about monetizing your blog, your website, and more about monetizing you. I'll get into that in a few minutes. But the first thing people want to think, usually they're thinking about when they want to talk about monetization for websites, is advertising. So I want to cover that first. Let's get this one out of the way. I did a video a while back, probably over a year, about things like the Google ads and running those, and how with wine being a niche market, particularly online, they don't always convert real well. I need a lot of traffic to make them convert. That's still very true. However, there are a few ad networks out there that are worth exploring, even if you don't have a lot of traffic. Palette Press Ad Network is one. I work with one called Glam Media. That's another. Sometimes ad networks are a good way to go to start at least getting some small amount of money coming in. And even if you have a little bit of traffic, it's not a lot of work to set up, and hey, it's money for essentially not doing a whole lot, just leaving some space on your blog. One thing that you need to be really careful about with anything that you do with monetization, whether it be ads, etc., is that you really need to have a code of conduct, your own ethics policy. Publish it publicly, stick by it, live by that. Because if you don't live by it, you'll definitely die by it. You can't really get away with things that are just overt sponsored content in this realm. It's not even worth going there. No amount of money you're going to make by doing that is going to be worth what you pay, and what you're going to pay is your credibility. So first things first, even before you think about the Google ads or Palette Press Ad Network, get a code of conduct up there. Specifically talk about how that functions for your ads. Live by that. And you really owe it to the people coming to your site to be that transparent, I think. So anyway, one thing I talked about back in that video a little while back about ads for wine blogs was that direct advertising is probably the best route for you in terms of what will pay the best rates. That's still largely true. However, that market is drying up a little bit. It's a combination of things. One is that people are getting more desensitized to ads. That's even true with the ad networks. The other thing is that the direct ads sometimes don't convert. Sometimes it's done with commission to sales. And even if the sales percentage isn't high, there's a search engine optimization value that those advertisers have by having a link in your sidebar, for example. Well, Google is starting to penalize those links that, even in the sidebars that look to them like they're paid links. So the SEO value is kind of going down as well. So with that, I think we're seeing a dip generally in the direct advertising. So that's something to just be aware of. You might have to hustle a little bit more if you want to get some of that advertising. But even if your website is a relatively small following, pursuing advertising is a great way to make a little bit of money, and it can actually at least make you a little bit for not having to do much, mostly passive income, and it can offset things like your hosting charges. Another thing that I wanted to make sure we hit, kind of the second thing, outside of ads, is doing things on the cheap. You do not have to spend a lot of money to do this stuff well. One Wine Dude is still hosted it's hosted at InMotion, and they're pretty techy, and they're pretty good. I've had some issues here and there, but I'm on shared hosting. Occasionally I get larger spikes in traffic, and I use free tools to handle that. I use free caching tools in WordPress. I'm on a platform that's free, which is WordPress. I pay, I don't know what it is, it's probably $7 a month or something along those lines to host. I make way more than that in ad revenue. So doing things cheaply and minimizing your cost is actually really important. Is if you're thinking about making some money with your site, well, then you need to be thinking not just about what you're bringing in, but you need to be thinking about profit, which is what you're going to bring in minus your expenses. You want those expenses to be low. Another way of looking at this is looking at whatever you're doing in monetization for your website as a mini business, okay? Because hey, you ultimately want to have profit, and yeah, you'll have to report that, of course, for tax purposes, at least in the US. And hey, that's good. That's a sign that you're doing something right. You're making a little bit of money. Another thing that I like to encourage people to do is to look at affiliate links. So I love affiliate links, even though some of them pay really well for me, some of them don't pay as well. But the bottom line with an affiliate link is if you do it right, everybody wins. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a book that you're reviewing and you've got an Amazon affiliate ID, well, it makes sense that when you link to the book on Amazon, for example, you're reviewing in your blog, that you use your affiliate links. Anyone who travels through that link to Amazon and buys some things, you'll get a small commission from Amazon for that. Similarly with wine, there's a lot of places that will pay links. Wine Searcher is one, Snooth is another. The reason these are good is that everybody wins, okay? One, the people that are following your site get a chance to actually find the product that you're talking about. That's really important. I mean, in a way, if I'm coming to you for your opinion, the next logical step is potentially wanting to find what you're talking about. So you're gonna link anyway. You might as well do it with something where then you make a little bit of money, the affiliate makes maybe a little bit of business or gets more traffic or whatever they're paying for, and the people coming there to your site have a resource that lets them take the next step. To me, everybody wins in that scenario. Now, if your post is nothing but a bunch of affiliate links and not genuine content, Google's going to penalize you for that anyway, so there's no point in going too crazy and doing tons and tons and tons of affiliate links. You know, there needs to be a rhyme and reason to it. I personally think this is a really good way to make a little bit of money, recoup some of your hosting costs, and you know, if you do it right, maybe even make more than just a little bit of money. So those, I think, are great ways to look at. Don't think of just ads and display. You know, think about things that you can ethically work into your content that gives benefit to the people that are coming to your site, gives you benefit, gives benefit to the affiliate, and that's just a win-win-win scenario. Those are great things to pursue. And finally, the final point I want to make is you need to monetize yourself if you really want to make money. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean selling your content space. I don't mean becoming a shill and hanging out a shingle that basically says you pay me a few $100 and I'll write whatever you want on my blog. I mean, that's honestly, that kind of stuff I find pathetic. There's no real reason to come to your site if that's what you're doing. Now, if you're authoring original content, you are being your awesome self. You are being unique. And guess what's going to happen? People are going to start to call you. There'll be places at the back end of the business. There'll be wine producers, etc., who don't maybe have anything to do with your site. What they want is your voice writing or helping create content for them on their sites. Content is basically a commodity these days, but it's one that really draws people in. It keeps people there. So online e-tailers for wine, larger producers, conglomerates, all of these folks in the business, they're looking for strong content out there. The more unique your voice, the more unique it is that defines what you do, the more likely you are to get those calls and get some of those gigs. The more gigs that you do like that, the better you'll get at, and the higher the rate you'll be able to charge for them. That's just one option. Another is things like speaking gigs that eventually come to folks who are viewed as really having deep knowledge in those topics. I've had a few of those specifically around social media and wine, and around how younger generations interact with wine online. Those are great gigs. I love them, and typically they pay pretty well. I've got other irons and other fires around similar things. The idea is, when you're viewed as a knowledge expert, people will pay for that. When you're viewed as having a unique skill, potentially creating unique, interesting content, and having a voice, people will pay for that. The highest profile gig I have, doesn't pay a huge amount, but the highest profile gig I have is for Playboy.com and the wind down column that I have there. I got that gig because Playboy called me. They were looking online. They wanted content creators from the blogosphere. They wanted those types of fresh voices. They got to wine, and a lot of the voices that they found sounded similar. This is what they told me. They got to my site and they stopped. It was different. It was unique, and they said, "This is it. This is the type of stuff that we want." And then I got the phone call. There are probably more gigs like that than there are unique and interesting and really compelling voices to fill that. So the biggest piece of advice I can give you in terms of monetization isn't driving tons and tons of traffic to your site so that your ad revenue goes up or your affiliate revenue goes up. I mean, if you can do that, that's great. I just think the odds are seriously against you in wine, especially when you consider it's a niche of a niche, right? It's a niche in terms of inside of food. And to probably really stand out these days in wine blogging, you need to focus. You can't just be general. So when you're focusing to kind of break a name for yourself, then you're a niche within a niche within a niche. So you can't count on a ton of traffic to generate all kinds of ad revenue for you. But what you can count on is yourself. You can count on being awesome. You can count on your uniqueness. And the more you hone that, the more you trust that, and the more you nurture that, and the more you kick ass with that, the greater your chances are of actually having an impact to your wallet, to your purse, to your pocketbook, as well as an impact to people, as well as an impact to spreading whatever news or gospel or interesting thing you want about the topic of wine, and getting people fired up about it. It's being able to do those things and engage people and create compelling content. I mean, that's what's going to get you phone calls. That's what's going to help you hustle for gigs, if that's what you want. But to me, that is really where you want to go if you're really thinking about turning it into something that'll make you any kind of serious money. It's okay to stop at the ad piece. It's okay to stop at the affiliate piece. But I think to really break out, you want to take it to another level. The level you need to take it to is within yourself. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I've expounded upon more of the themes that I could probably have gotten into the 5 or 10 minutes that I get to speak at the Wine Bloggers Conference this year. Please reach out to me if you've got questions on this stuff, if you just want to riff, if you think I'm full of crap, I don't know, whatever it is. I want to hear from you. I want to help you out. Believe me, I'm trudging through a lot of these same things myself as I try to take this wine media thing and actually make some money with it. I've hit a ton of the roadblocks. I've broken through a few of those roadblocks. So if my advice can help you, then hey man, and women, I feel great about that. So I want to hear about those things. I want you to reach out to me. Anyway, looking forward to spending time with everybody at the Wine Bloggers Conference in Portland. Until I see you next time, cheers.